How's it going, football fans? Welcome inside the set of Gridiron Glory. Thank you for joining us for coverage of Week 7. I'm your host, Blake Brody. A lot of compelling action around the region this week as we're starting to see games becoming more and more important as teams start making that push toward a league crown. Two teams falling behind in the TVC hockey race, the Southern Tornadoes and Miller Falcons. While both teams have struggled in the 2011 season, tonight a winnable matchup for each team and a chance to perhaps jumpstart a season. Joining us at the desk now, Keith Turner. Keith, talk to us about these two teams. I know 2011 season hasn't gone the way they wanted, but a great chance for both teams tonight to taste victory for the first time.
Well, you're right, Blake. These two teams, they haven't had the greatest starts. Miller hasn't been able to get the job done so far, and Southern, their lone win was against Belle Pre. However, this is a great game for both teams to make a statement in the TVC hockey. And as we go out to Walter Harrop Field, there's a lot of pink and purple for breast cancer awareness, and on the opening kickoff, it's kind of miscommunicated between the two, but Dakota Bond's going to end up picking this up, and I tell you what, he's going to have a nice little return out for them. And
that's how we planned it, huh?
Exactly, and I tell you what, on this next play, next Miller possession, Jacob Bond has a rushing touchdown for the Falcons, puts him up 6-0. However, that next play is going to be blocked. The extra point will be blocked, so it's 6-0. Okay, the homecoming court is very, very excited for this one, and I tell you what, Blake, I tell you what, now Tristan Wolf, he's going to fire up. It looks like a touchdown, and it is a touchdown tonight. All right,
dang, good play.
Huge play for them. It's 7-6. They have the lead. All right, and now there's a trick pass play to Hunter Johnson deep in Falcon territory, and right before the half, you're going to see a huge cousin connection. Dakota Bond to Jacob Bond to the Southern 11. And one more time, why not? A Bond-to-Bond connection for the touchdown. 2-point is no good. It's 14-12. Southern is at half, but the Tornadoes go on to win 20-12. It's a heartbreaker for the Falcons, Blake. At homecoming, they were looking for that first win, but they just couldn't get it done tonight.
Right, and Southern certainly did. They get it done. Looks like that passing attack, a lot of big plays for the Tornadoes. Looks like it was too much for that Miller secondary.
I tell you what, they had 3 huge passing plays in the first half, Blake. Tristan Wolf had a great game. They was confusing Miller all night. The passing plays really worked for them tonight.
All right, Keith. Well, Southern gets their second win. See if they can make that a little bit of a back-to-back winning streak. We'll see next week. Thanks a lot, Keith. Well, now that we have more than a half's worth of season behind us, Player of the Year candidates have certainly emerged, and Gridiron Glory taking notice. We have a watch list of 15 players selected representing all of our conferences, and we're relying on you to help us whittle that 15 to a final 5. The candidates have been revealed on our website at WOUB.org, so check out that list as well for comprehensive coverage of your team and league. We'll also have coverage of Nelsonville York's matchup with Meigs tonight on the web tomorrow, so fans of those two teams will want to check that out, WOUB.org. Also, football fans, follow us on Twitter at Gridiron Glory. Team follow back starting to gain a little steam, especially from our MVL supporters. A shout out to them. Also, and Facebook Fan of the Week, still very much alive. We're just taking our time to pick out our next winner. So like our Facebook page, and you can be the next. Oh, the surprising New Lexington Panthers, led by KJ Hook and a dominant defense through 6 weeks, have shot out to a 5-1 record. But tonight, their toughest test to date with Tri-Valley coming to town. Welcome up to the desk now, our MVL reporter, Glenn Janos. Glenn, what an opportunity tonight at home for the New Lexington to get a big win and maybe make a statement in the MVL.
Oh yeah, it certainly was. I mean, it was their, Panthers lost to Maysville in Week 4, and New Lexington wanted to prove they were a threat for the MVL title. And Blake, you mentioned their dominant defense this season, but the spread offense of the Scotties would be tough to contain, and it's homecoming for the Panthers. They have royalty on the field, and speaking of royalty, Nathan Strzok, he's going to throw a deep pass early in the second quarter to Logan Wisecarver, 33 yards. Strzok, he's a Player of the Year candidate here at Gridiron Glory. Speaking of Player of the Year candidates, Austin Jones is another one of them. Takes it 15 yards into the end zone. That was a 99-yard drive for the Scotties. Jones finished with 209 yards in the game, rushing yards in the game. And next drive, Panthers responding. KJ Hook, he runs 13 yards in the Tri-Valley territory. That's another Player of the Year candidate.
Anybody else recognized tonight.
Lots of them there, but a few plays later, see your Hook airs it out, intercepted by Tyler Colopy. Colopy would return it to the 37-yard line. Not much time left in the second. And soon after, Nathan Strzok connects with Chris Michael, but Michael fumbles. New Lex recovers with 37 seconds left on the clock. 2 plays later, we'll open up the playbook, some trickerations here. Alex Bryant passes it to Jacob Martin to the 15-yard line. 25 seconds to go in the half. New Lex has a shot, and with no time left on the clock, Hook scrambles, almost goes down, stays on his feet somehow into the end zone, tying it up 7-7 at the half. And that is big for the Panthers because they wanted to stay close. Well, we'll skip to the fourth quarter, and Player of the Year candidates Hook up again, 70 yards, touchdown pass for Austin Jones. That's his longest reception of the season. They would go up 14-7, but New Lux responded with a touchdown, tied it at 14, and with clock running down, Austin Jones scored the game winner with under 3 minutes left, and Tri-Valley wins the nail-biter 21-14.
Man, everything stacked against Tri-Valley tonight. On the road, in a tough atmosphere. It's homecoming for New Lux, yet the Scotties found a way. What a big win for them tonight. Yeah, and they pulled out the close win, something they couldn't do at Dover, and they remained balanced. 225 rushing yards, 182 passing yards. That's something Coach Buttermore always says they strive to do. But they have no rest. They have a deceptively tough matchup next week with John Glenn, who, as we know, last week almost upset the Sheridan Generals, and they won against Morgan this week. So don't sleep on the Little Muskies of John Glenn. Okay, well, certainly Tri-Valley won't sleep on anybody. Big win tonight. Thanks a lot, Matt Glenn. You got it. Well, for a look at how the league as a whole looks through 7 weeks, we're going to toss it over to MVL reporters Pat Chiesa and Colin Brown. Fellas, shed us some knowledge on the MVL through 7 weeks.
Hey, thanks, Blake. I'm Pat Chiesa here with Colin Brown making his Gridiron Glory debut. And Colin, in addition to the Tri-Valley New Lux game tonight, we had a couple of other important games in the NVL. The Sheridan Generals taking on the Philo Electrics. Philo trying to shock Sheridan tonight. Boy, that would have been an upset. And the Maysville Panthers welcoming in the Coshocton Redskins, a 5-1 Division IV powerhouse. Really has a prolific running attack. That would have been another great upset if the Panthers could have pulled that off. So were there any upsets? What went down in those 2 games?
Well, no, Pat. You know, last week Sheridan had a tough win against a John Glenn team, so you know they were going to bounce back and they were really going to try and have a good game. They rolled Philo 42-14, and then Maysville trying to shock Coshocton. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The Redskins' running game was just too prolific for the Panthers' defense. They rolled them 49-14.
Well, okay, Colin. So now we're done with 7 weeks in the MVL, 7 weeks in the books, and you know what? The standings are exactly the same as they were a week ago. We still have that 2-horse race up front between Sheridan and Tri-Valley, and the other 7 teams are playing catch-up. But hey, these next 3 weeks are going to be big. We got some big games coming up, so tell the people what they can look forward to in weeks 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, definitely. Sheridan trying to stay undefeated. They've got a gauntlet of a schedule to finish out. Next week, hosting Maysville, week 9 hosting Tri-Valley, week 10 at New Lux. Like I said, Maysville next week at Sheridan, then they have Philo, Tri-Valley week 9 at Sheridan. That's a huge game in the MVL. And then New Lexington week 10 hosting Sheridan. So a lot of games, you know, a loss could really mix things up in the MVL.
It definitely could. Blake, we got some exciting football coming up here in the MVL in the next 3 weeks. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, fellas. Really looking forward to that Sheridan Tri-Valley matchup later in the season. But football fans, stick around for coverage of our game of the week. It's undefeated Jackson versus Division IV state heavyweight Ironton. Jackson has rolled through its competition this season, but a win tonight would certainly mean a little more. Josh Huntsberger is live in Ironton with the coverage, so stick around for that. A tale of 2 different weeks for Wellston and Alexander last Friday. Wellston shut out on the road against Nelsonville York, while Alexander scored 8 touchdowns in a romp over Vinton County. Welcoming up to the desk now, TVC Ohio reporter Justin Sampson, and I guess 2 teams going in opposite directions, but on any given Friday, anything can happen.
Well, Blake, it was a gorgeous analogy from Coach Sean Arno, who said that this season at TVC Ohio has been like a round of golf. The Big Three have started off strong, but it only takes 1 mental lapse or 1 bad hole. It could kill the entire round. Now, 1 week removed from the 3 biggest holes of the season, if you will, Wellston coming in trying to play spoiler. In Albany, it's another episode of Hey Arno, as the boys and the coach trying not to think about the battle at Basil Rudder going on next week, but not doing such a good job of that from the start. On the first drive, Jalen Prater connects with Austin Craig over on the sidelines to convert that 4th down. You're going to be hearing his name a lot tonight. That would set up this 16-yard touchdown strike from Michael Downer. Do I even need to say it? Putting a downer on the Spartans early on. Wellston goes up 7-0. But on the ensuing kickoff, Trey Bennett says, "This is my yard and I'm going to run it." He runs this one all the way back to the 30 after making a couple guys miss. Running hard up the sideline there, bouncing off tacklers. The big man gets down to the 30. That would set up this touchdown strike from 13 yards out from Benton Milam. Just like that, 1 good run deserves another. Tie for the Spartans, 7-7. Fist bump from Arno tells him, get me a few more of those.
Hey,
but Prater would not be denied through the air. The 44-yard touchdown strike to Austin Craig once again puts the Rockets up 14-7. We got a hot one brewing in Albany. And then a few drives later, the 4th down conversion from Prater to once again Austin Craig had a monster night. for them. That would set up the 1-yard touchdown plunge from Prater, the future Northwestern Wildcat. Wellston would go up 20-7 at half. Oh my, the band's out on the field and they're all smiles because Wellston, it only takes one night and this was theirs, throws a huge wrench into the cog of the TVC Ohio, and for the rest of this season, Wellston pulling off potentially the upset of the season, knocking off the Spartans 27-14.
Wow, unbelievable. Like you said, upset of the season so far, that three-headed monster in the Ohio trimmed down to 2. What does this do big picture in the TVC Ohio?
Well, it's a pretty big shakeup, Blake, because Athens and Nelsonville York already riding high after big wins tonight. Nelsonville York was the one who had a little bit more of the struggle between the two. Meigs really gave them a contest through the first 3 quarters until Dustin Young broke out in the 4th, like he tends to do. But I think it's very telling because Athens and Nelsonville York are riding high now, but Alexander, they go into Basil Rudder next week, and it could be a bit of a struggle now because this snaps the Spartans' 14-game home win streak. Now it's going to be a big question whether there will be any hope for the TVC Ohio title for Alexander.
They'll have to get a win next week to make that happen if they have any chance left. Thanks a lot tonight, Justin.
No problem.
Well, we could call highlights here all day, every day, but it's important to remember that there's more to Friday night than a football game, and then that's also the teams out on the field. Kristen Walters now joins me with more of a fan perspective rather than an analyst.
Yeah, you know, I think what makes Friday night so unique isn't just the game being played, but it's the entire atmosphere. And one key component to that atmosphere is the student section.
Right.
And it just so happens that I got to be a part of one last week. It's essential to an athletic program. It's the student section. And there's no student section around quite like Gallia Academy's G-Force.
We're just a bunch of very, very spirited students who come out here every single week. We support the guys, cheer them on, do as best we can, bring home a W.
Very spirited might be an understatement. And there are a few key elements to achieve their ear-piercing energy level. Number 1, paint. And lots of it.
Don't get the lift.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the belly button, that's the hardest place.
Number 2, dedication. You do the no shirt thing like every game, even when it's like 30 degrees out, 20 degrees out.
Last year, I did it in the snow.
We got spirit, yes we do. We got spirit, how about you?
These tights, 28 size is too small.
And number 3, some serious vocal cords.
I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a rap. We got spirit!
Normally, blue attire is also a requirement, but this game was different, and for a good reason.
We're blacking out cancer tonight. Last year we did it. We raised $2,000 for American Cancer Society, and we're trying to raise even more than that this year.
The students helped inspire the whole community to go from blue and white to black and pink. Even I couldn't resist.
How's it look?
The G-Force is clearly a driving force behind Gallia athletics, and they're a reminder that whether you're cheering for the home team or cancer research, sometimes it's a good thing to get a little rowdy. Well, I have to say that was a ton of fun, and if you want to see even more where that came from, we'll have extra video and pictures for you on woub.org/gridiron.
Okay, I was at Gallia Academy week 1 for Fan of the Week. That student section's ridiculous. Thanks a lot, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, trying to bounce back after 2 straight losses, Gallia Academy. But their opponent tonight, Chillicothe, is coming off their first win of the season, and Ron Hinton's team would love nothing more than to send the Blue Devils on a 3-game slide. Welcoming up to the desk now, Carter Rodriguez, SEOL reporter. Carter, Gallia Academy, even though they're coming off 2 straight losses, with that defense of theirs, they still got to be confident going forward.
Absolutely, and that Blue Devil defense has been stout. The offense has really been what's killing them during the 2-game skid. However, the defense has been their calling card, and that held true tonight in Chillicothe. Ron Hinton is ready to take his team to 2 consecutive wins. They're feeling very good going into this game, but Brandon Taylor has his own say in that. He punches it in for a 7-0 Gallia lead on the first drive, and then it's a very conventional punch-it-in method. Cavs run a little different. Pass from Ryan Mathis to Zach Johnson, over to Jalen Jones. That's 48 yards. Crazy play, and that sets up...
A little tomfoolery there.
It was unbelievable. Moves it to Mathis, back to Johnson. 2 plays later, he fights for the ball in the air. But Brandon Taylor sees the tie game. He says, I'm going to take it 44 yards. Didn't quite get to the end zone, though. So, we'll give it to Brandon Taylor again. That's 16 yards. He's fighting, he's pushing, and he almost gets there, but not quite. So, Coach Eddie's going to, give him his due. He'll punch it in for the third consecutive run. Take it in, 13-7 Gallia Academy. The Cavs are down 13-7. They're having a rough time, but the roller coaster is running for Chillicothe, and it might have worked. Jalen Jones picks off the Gallia Academy quarterback, and they have the ball in their territory, but Ryan Mathis can't find a man. He gets dragged down, and the Chillicothe Cavaliers will drop this one 19-7. If you're looking at the stats there, they just didn't establish a running game at all. Tim Beard, their stud rusher, only had 5 carries. So, they went to a more passing attack this week, and, it had mixed results.
Yeah, okay, so Gallia Academy gives up a first possession touchdown to the Cavs, but from that point on, goose egg.
I know, and the defense really adjusted because they absolutely ripped them the first couple drives through the air. Zach Johnson was destroying them at the wide receiver position, but I'll tell you what, they started getting after the quarterback. The cornerbacks were staying very, very on their game, and they didn't let them score after the first drive.
Yeah, Gallia Academy defense has been just dominant, to this point in the season. We'll see if they have what it takes to knock off Jackson later in the season. Thanks a lot tonight, man. Fan of the Week time now. We'd be hard-pressed to find a more electric atmosphere than Erickson All-Sports Facility, the venue for tonight's battle for Parkersburg between Parkersburg and Parkersburg South. The Peace South fans were as amped as I've ever seen as I searched for this week's Fan of the Week. What is that? Big Red. He likes the Big Reds tonight. Backman. High five. When Backman's in the complex, it's a big game.
Well, yeah, about 30 minutes to do it.
Okay.
We're just sitting in my house and
decided this would be the right thing to do.
This is the battle of the Berg, and I'm not talking Pittsburgh. I'm facting a south win, baby. You can take it to the house. Mad Max said it.
I lost the bet. He bet me if he gets so many hits, I'd have to paint up, and he got all the hits, so I had to paint up.
It is amazing. We're looking for a Fan of the Week. There appears to be a unanimous choice for this Brock character.
You picked the right fan!
Group question here. How bad do you guys hate Parkersburg?
We hate him! Not tonight, boys! Not tonight!
Do you guys have like a specific cheer you guys do?
Stop, 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 stop. Everybody! Stop, 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 stop.
You got the face painted. I feel like you're the leader of the student section. So Brock here is going to be Gridiron Glory's Week 7 Fan of the Week. Man, those fans certainly electric tonight. And the game also had all the intangibles to live up to the hype. Parkersburg came in 5th in the state, while the Patriots, winners of 2 in a row, needed a win for their playoff hopes. Welcoming up to the desk now, and at this game, our lucky reporter was Katie Doubt. Katie, Parkersburg South sitting 17 in the state, top 16 make it. Big chance for them tonight to boost their playoff rating with the win over Parkersburg.
Blake, absolutely, and as you saw, this is a huge game. Definitely a huge opportunity as well for the Patriots. They knew it, and they for sure took advantage of it. This game was a battle for the defense, but a struggle for the offense. Both student sections went all out for the big game. The crowd was pumped. Packed stadium to start it off for the Patriots. Tyler Bullen attempts to pass to Kiocho. Incomplete. This was pattern throughout the game. Bullen finally has a nice pass to senior Josiah Fickelson, who has a nice 23-yard run. He had a couple nice runs during the game, actually. But they fumble on the next play. The Big Reds get it. Our Player of the Year nominee, Alex Ash, couldn't complete a pass, For example, here, he gets sacked by the defense, and this happened a number of times. Packs with the ball again. Bullen not having much luck completing passes. Hands off to Douglas, who pushes it through for a nice little first down. But every other play, they ended up losing it. Okay. One of Ash's better plays tonight when he got this pass complete to number 10, Raphael Carton. Completed passes just weren't happening for either team, especially in the first half. Lots of huddles. And as you can see, Coach Bullen really getting his team punked up during that one. Here's an exciting play. South has the ball. Bullen throws to the middle, but it's deflected by number 44, Hunter Shank. Had a nice little up.
Defense all over the place.
And here, with just a few seconds left in the first half, you saw a missed field goal. Field goal, yes, excuse me. And it was 45 yards, came out short. The Packs score in the second half, come out with the very unexpected win, 17-0. Packs are now 4-2, and the Big Regs are 5-2. And this was a huge game for the Packs defense.
Man, so Parkersburg South, winners of 3 in a row. A couple weeks ago, Parkersburg was rolling, Parkersburg South was reeling, but now a couple weeks later, these are 2 totally different teams.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. They are totally different teams, even if you look at their lineup. You know, the Big Reds lost a lot of people the past few weeks. 2 starting linemen, 2 starting running backs, and 2 receivers are out on injuries. They got Lindemood back, and I mean, he went 7 for 34, but as you can tell, it didn't do much. So.
No, man, Parkersburg really trying to battle that injury bug. That's definitely plagued them this season. Parkersburg South, meanwhile, rolling. Thanks a lot tonight, Katie.
Absolutely, thank you.
And now it's time in the show for Extra Points. Highlights of 2 games in 1 minute. Let's do it. Starting off in MacArthur, Athens visiting Vinton County. First play of the game, Vikings fumble. The Bulldogs recover. Cannot capitalize, but the next drive, Josh Skinner finds Devon Sharp, 47 yards. Man, Sharp making all the big plays for the Bulldogs this season. Later in the drive, Sharp here at the goal line makes the leap into the end zone, dives over the pile. Bulldogs roll in this one 40-0. They stay undefeated. Over to Logan now, where the Chieftains trail 14-7 at halftime. Warren's Paul Wesselhoff sacked by Jeremy Hostile, leading to a punt. Logan takes over with excellent field position. Corey McCarty bursts into Warriors secondary. Big play there for Logan. Then on 3rd and goal, McCarty takes the pitch to the corner, dives, and gets in there. We're tied at 14. This game would go on to double overtime before the Warren, the victors, 40-37. Game of the week time, and what a matchup it is. Jackson at Ironton, a matchup of 2 heavyweights. Last year it took 3 overtimes to determine a winner, as Jackson took the dub at home 26-19. But for the Ironmen to turn the trick this year, they'll have to get it done on the road. Joining us now live in Ironton, Josh Hunsberger. Josh, Jackson hasn't defeated Ironton since 1968 on the road. Could they make 2011 a season to remember?
Yeah, Blake, they have struggled here in the past, but their coach Andy Hall has bragged about his team's tenacity all season long, and it was that tenacity that made this such a fun game tonight here in Ironton. Osborne early on rolls out to his right, picks up a 14-yard pickup to Reagan Williams here inside the Ironton red zone. Osborne punches it in, 7-0 Ironman. But on their second drive, Cody Roberts is going to pick off Osborne after he's almost sacked here, and that gets things going for Ironton. And on 2 plays after that, they go up top from Tyler Kratzenberg to Michael Lawless for a 59-yard pickup inside the Ironman red zone again. They punch it in, go up 8-7 with a 2-point conversion. On their second drive, they go with a reverse here to Dion Brown. Here's a 69-yard pickup inside the Ironman yard line again, inside the Ironman red zone again. Tyler Hager would punch it in for a second touchdown and a 2-point, go up 16-7. Now the Ironman would put together a nice 2-minute drill, topped off by this 34-yard reception by Ty McNelly with 7 seconds left in the half. But Jackson goes into the half down 14-16. But McNelly's not done yet with a 4-yard jet sweep to the outside. Jackson takes the lead 21-16, but McNelly's not perfect. He fumbles the snap here on the punt. Ironton takes over, and they make it hurt. Hager punches it in for his 3rd touchdown for 1 yard out. They take a 22-21 lead after a failed 2-point conversion. Jackson has a rushing game of their own. They go back to Drew Irvin. He scores. They go up 28-22 after the extra point. Ironton's last chance here, 4th and 5. Ty Kratzenberg rolls out, and his pass will be broke up by Nathan Parks on a big hit, and Jackson comes to Ironton, and takes the victory 28-22. Everybody in Jackson was pumped up after this one, Blake. Looking at the stats, Osborne is the go-to guy here for Jackson. He had almost 200 yards of the entire Jackson offense, or Jackson's total yards, excuse me. So you got to look at him for a Player of the Year candidate, I know. So I think Jackson right now is still the front runner in the SCOAL. They proved a lot coming in here tonight to Ironton. They won a very impressive game, kind of a shootout for these two, but it was a shootout. It was a shootout in the sense of a smash mouth game. So that's what we really like to see down here. Coach Hall bragged about his boys. Everybody was pumped after this game. And I was really excited to be here tonight for our game of the week. It was definitely worthy of our game of the week.
Absolutely, Josh. Jackson partying like it's 1968 with that big win on the road against Ironton. Josh, thanks a lot tonight, man. Travel safe back to Athens. So Jackson gets a big-time win, and there were some big-time plays made tonight as well. Here's a look at tonight's top plays. Number 3, Wellston. What an upset win tonight over Alexander. Here's a 44-yard touchdown strike through the air. Jalen Prater to Austin Craig. What a combination that was tonight. Gives Wellston a 14-7 lead. They wound up pulling the upset, 27-14. Number 2, New Lex here. KJ Hook, as the first half winds down, scrambles 7 yards for a Panthers touchdown. That tied the game at 7 going into half, but New Lex would lose this one 21-14. Our top play of the night in Chillicothe, Ryan Mathis to Zach Johnson makes the catch. Oh, he laterals it to Jalen Jones. That's a 48-yard play. What a sweet play for the Cavs there, but they would fall in this one 19-7. What a Friday night of football it was, but with Week 7 now behind us, here's what to expect from Gridiron Glory in Week 8. Week 8's on the horizon, and it's a make-or-break week for many area teams. Maysville has a 4-game conference winning streak in the MVL, but their stiffest test of the season awaits them with a trip to mighty Sheridan. Also in the MVL, Morgan looks for a win with last place West Muskingum in town. The TVC Hawking's been put in a stranglehold by Wahama, but that could all change when they travel to a hungry, one-loss South Gallia team. Williamstown is one of the top teams in West Virginia, but they have some unfinished business to take care of against Worth County. I'll be in Warren for Fan of the Week when the Warriors take on Chillicothe. And all eyes will be on our Game of the Week when undefeated Athens hosts Alexander, looking to bounce back off their first loss of the season. Athens can eliminate the Spartans' title hopes with a win, while the Spartans need a big-time road upset to climb right back in the Ohio title chase. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.